almost Wednesday science review for self-defense and effectively things that are proven to work, the data behind it, and the studies. If you stay till the end, I promise you that you'll receive a framework that will help you reduce anxiety, right? Without going to the therapist, right? Here's I think the question that I've seen across the many years is like, can martial arts really help on reducing anxiety? It's a question that I've seen happen on and on, and there's this, I'm gonna say, lack of clarity. Sometimes I would say it works. Sometimes it's an idea. It's kind of, people talk about it, and you speak with your friends. You have like, oh, I feel very positive in this place. I feel that my life is getting better. Do you know what I mean? Like it's well known. Um, it's well known the fact that if you train martial arts, something happens to you. But I think it's missing this claim that, of course, I'm putting the claim out there that the heavy bag versus a therapist. What do you really know about this? There is this superb study, okay, superb study that is done by Ciccaccioni. I think I'm saying his name right, okay. But and he looked at the 72 studies on adults in martial arts and combat sports, and what he found a lot of interesting things. Okay, it is there are 72 studies, so I think he made like a cross-sectional approach. That is, you pick data from each one of the things and you start piling up evidence or understanding what it means. The study also has some limitations because we have people that train 5 times a week, grappling, ground, BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I haven't seen in the study anything about Krav Maga, but they train karate, they train striking disciplines, and they have Tai Chi as well. So it's, I mean, like there's a huge, in a way, I think it's a very positive thing from the study that you've got both the fact that you've got like these high intensity martial arts, and you've got on the other side, I'm going to say internal martial arts. So you can, some detractors of the study could say, oh, this has a very wide population, but guess what? The world of martial arts is very wide. So I think it's one of these strengths. So think about this. You finish a long day, your mind is still racing. You just came out of New York. We are in Morris Plains. You came out of New York, you came back to your life in here, back in Morris, or back to where you are. But I think there's a lot of things still happening in your head. So it's tough to take these things out. So it's tough to disconnect. I've never was able, and I worked as a consultant for many years. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get home and disconnect the plug. That it's very hard. On the other hand, when I was going to karate or to Krav Maga, and we would spar, oh boy, I had to get my mind clear. Okay, so we'll talk about the science behind that because I do know it worked for me, and I saw that work for others. And the study does say that there is limited but positive evidence that striking, grappling can lower anxiety and depressive symptoms. Some in the mid 20% drops. So I want to cover why it works, what it doesn't, and I'll give you a sample drill. Hopefully, I can get it up from the ladder and then start moving around here. But so let's go to the science. Okay, to the science breakdown. Quick study facts. Ciccaccioni and authors, okay, 2024. It's one of the most cited studies up there in the Journal of Psychology of Sport and Exercise. 72 studies, mostly cross-sectional. Super important here. They have limited evidence for anxiety, depression reductions, but stronger when training has live elements, pads, partners, skill progression, and coach structure. What does this really mean for you is that If you go to the gym and start striking the bag, you probably don't have the same results. Clear? So you need feedback. You need a task that orients you in a certain direction, and you need a task by itself gets graded. No, it changes the task. And there is a coach. And this idea of coach structure, it has more to do with feedback than anything else. So there is this number of 26%. It's more of inferred of the meta trends. If you look more into the study, you think like you'll pick up the 20-30% in all the subsets, but not every study shows this. There are different samples, and the pattern does vary. So I do think makes sense. Okay, 20% is not a big reduction, but it's like a tremendous, interesting reduction by the fact that you go and do something else, not only for your head, but also for your body. So it's these two things combined that I think make it really, really strong. Now, why this beats just a talk therapy? And believe me, guys, I do therapy for myself, okay? And it's super important, but I place it in another box. It's like, I'm going to live in that part of the world. So if you can do both, it will be even better, okay? So here's why I believe it works. First of all, it's action first, so your body will move. Okay, there is behavioral activation. You move from, okay, I was in this place seated, like I'm here in the chair, like with you guys, and I move to another place that has a different behavior. And then, as we know, structure in there, the fact that, well, you can sit on the ground, but someone will be on top of you trying to throw punches, and and what will happen? Throw punches or submit, or you have to get up. So it's something like that environment is different from the environment that you were. So I think it's super important to think about that. Then there is this rhythmic impact and breath coupling, right? You strike, you push, you pull, you move side to side. And I'm even doing it in the chair. But just the fact that you have to connect the pattern of movement with your breath, it couples a good level of vagal tone. So it's going to stimulate your parasympathetic system, and it bleeds out your cortisol. So I think from a physiological perspective, you start having an idea of why these things happen. You breathe, you have to go back and say, okay, bring my breath to my nose, exit to the mouth. At least that's how you should, if you have to spar and really, that's how you get this done. And I think that just by practice, this thing already works. I can already feel it in me. Get the idea? So if you get up and you start putting hooks and uppercuts, and if you do the routine, you'll see. If you guys check out Matt's video, he's more than 65 years old. He's 64 actually, and we've done the routine, the 6 punches routine with counters, and the 6 punches routine with counters, and then grappling, fully adapted to Krav Maga, obviously. If you decide to take the stance of I'm defending first, as you guys know, defending sucks because there's an action, there's a reaction, but that's, I could say, another conversation. But thinking about that, you've got this action, reaction. We do need to throw shots, grab, push, pull, and that starts because there's over time, you need to go back to that calming. I'm going to call it, in a way, excitement, but then also calming of the other pattern that you had before when you came from work. Now, this study has I'm going to say, these are snapshots. These are not long-term RCTs, meaning randomized controlled trials. They have got high variability, different styles, experience levels. Guys, and not everyone showed the same results. But I think there's, although it's a limitation, I think it's a tremendously important thing. So that the study is right broad, like it shows you different things. It shows you that these effects kind of show up across the board. And to be fair, it's one of the first studies that does that. And after my 42 years in martial arts, if you guys know my story, I've done the nationals. I was in the national karate team of Portugal during 16 years. And then, training Krav Maga. Krav Maga moved from that point-based sparring method, very intense, just very, very, very clear. Everyone, when you guys do karate, or essentially the karate community, in my days, I heard things like, "Oh, in my time it was better. In my time it was more real." And then, I see the next things coming in, and independent of my version of the world, I think there is this idea that in your day things were more hard. Well, obviously, the first reason is that you've experienced it and probably got some good experiences from there. So in your days of karate, in your days of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I've seen a lot of people in the community of wrestling and BJJ. I just hear this. Oh, that was when it was hard. Now it's all about sport. I don't know. It's if you look into, and I'm kind of moving around, but if you look into in the old days, it was good, guys. Just look at the overall Olympic records across modalities, and you just know that yes, you were good, but now they are much better. Okay, you can see that in pole vault, you can see that in triple jump, you can see that in modalities where it's possible, and you can see it measurable. Okay, I don't know if in wrestling that still applies, but it's seen, man. It's clear. You see boxing matches from now and boxing matches from 10 years ago, and like you see the amazing level of athletes. So just be aware that although probably in your time you did it well, I don't know if it's hard as much as it is. But so after my 42 years of in martial arts, uh, I've seen all of this happening firsthand. Students coming tense, and there is a thing in person's head, like they can be like, oh, what the heck is happening? They start doing the warm up, they start doing things, they get tired. Um, they get tired, they do the task, they focus on the task, there is feedback with the partner, and and things start to happen. And you want to think about this. What I mean by things start to happen is like there is obviously warm up, like I'm really tired. It happens with me obviously when I train. I'm really tired in the warm up. Then the body kind of reacts to the stress, whoops, puts you up. And then on the second phase, you go a little bit more out of the edge, and guess what? The body does the same thing. You get tired again. You get like, oh man, I cannot deal it. And then you overcome that. So I see this happening on a constant basis. It's not magic. You do need to be aware of the training intensity so that you don't break down. But overall, students live lighter and live better. And how do I know that? I know that because of this. I know when a class goes well that people forget stuff. Shoes. People forget shoes. People forget their glasses, okay? People forget, I've had all sorts of things. Obviously, gloves. Gloves are like, they stay to the side, and they say wallets, watches, all sorts of things. And I know this is not magic. It's because it's controlled intensity, breath, skill focus, and guess what? You've just told your brain that is allowed to reset. Okay, from whatever was happening with you before. This is super interesting. Okay, it happened to me. I have many curious stories of people that left their pants at the studio, or whatever. But it's super interesting. People forget things because the task itself helps you to recover. It's super critical that we as coaches design the task in that way, and also that the environment allows this to happen. So if you are a man between 35 to 50, okay, what you'll feel is that most likely probably are still working. Well, I think we're probably going to all going to work until a certain age and or time in the world, and with the age of AI coming in, we probably have no longer to work, but that's in another direction. But if you're a man between 35 and 50 years old, you want to look into, okay, I'm stressed. I got this anxiety coming in. There is also the other questions about, do I know how to fight? Or can I defend my family? This thing kind of gives you a very positive experience on that. Okay, it starts closing that gap in readiness, making you more capable. My view, if you're a woman, I think that when you do this type of training, that you do need to have contact very clearly. You achieve some level of a better calmness because you have an understanding of what to do. You start having chances. We call it, excuse me, having a fighting chance. That triggers something in the brain. Now, if you're more than 50, if you're more than 55 or 65, let's imagine this, okay, older. I believe I've not seen many data meaning. I've not seen there are many studies on this, but I believe this is fighting for your longevity, okay? This type of training allows you, and the study itself focus more on the psychological effects of martial arts across the board, okay? And you will not be overwhelmed. You have got tasks to do. Again, you zap out of one world and you zap into the other. Okay, so I think that's super, super important. Okay, I told you that I would talk to you about a stress dump exercise. I'm going to talk about that. Okay, I'm not going to do it. We'll post videos on that, and you guys can reach out. But think about this. If you have a bag, I would do a bit of bag first. I would go to pads, and then from pads go to a partner, and then I would return back to the bag. And here's the idea. For self-defense, it's better to strike with palms. That's it. It's less. You got our bud in here, right? Our bud in here. And it probably needs a better anatomical description because his hand is only one joint. You see what I mean? Only one joint. But the reality of this toy is that he only has one joint over here. So probably it even helps. Got it? You see this? If you apply pressure, let's align the joints. Okay. If we align the joints of our model, see this? It's tight, man, right? You align the joints. Now, here we go. Now align the palm, and theoretically, if I push this well, see the thing, I'm pressing it, got it? Oh, here we go. Boom. So your strike many times is something like this, boom, but without having the joint move. It's this, okay, to a certain level. If it is well aligned, you can do this thing. What happens when you punch with the knuckles is that we need to align this joint with this joint. Let's say that we've got that one, right? That's it for it. But we need to align all of these joints. You need to close well the fist. Yeah, that's the superiority of striking with the palm. Get this? Because there are no joints to align. Got it? You don't have to align the knuckle and all of that. It's superior, okay, for self-defense. Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks for coming in today, okay? Say hello to him. We need to name our toy. One of these days, you guys need to let me know what's the name that you want to give him. But okay, so imagine that you are working palm strike, hook, palm strike, elbow, hook, palm strike from top and bottom. Work with that. That's in the rate of perceived exertion. You should be somewhere like at a 7, okay, out of 10. You do bursts. I'm going to say do 30 seconds bursts because they also kind of, they also kind of mimic some level of what could be a fight. Do one burst, come back, go with breaths like, oh, okay, going to shake around, shake hands around, move around, okay? Do it again. Do 5 of these, okay? Then out of that, and if you like MMA gloves, better, but if you don't have them, well, you just strike with the palms, okay? But if you have MMA gloves, they are good. So strike with palms on pads. Here's what I would like you to do. Go slide to the outside, strike, slide to the outside, strike. Strike back, slide, right? Okay? Strike under, up, and go, woo, wave, 1, 2, 3, wave, 1, 2, 3, okay? With palms, preferably. all of that in the patch. Do that 5 times for 30 seconds. Got the idea? Five times 30 seconds. Rest in between. So you need to feel it. Got it? Probably 30 seconds is not enough because you need to talk with the partner. So try a minute. But if your partner is good, 30 seconds will be great. Okay, and you'll have that high intensity, then drop down, or do a minute, but still again, come back and rest. Okay, rest. Bring the breath down. And then go and try to do this with the partner. Someone throws the shots, he gets out, try to touch the body, okay? Very relaxed, okay? Very relaxed, meaning be careful with the contact, unless. And then end all of these in the bag, right? So you start bag, pads, partner, bag. That should take you something like 25 minutes, okay? That should work. Now, I would do these 2 times a week in terms of the how many times to do this, and you need to track mood. You need to track mood. There aren't like red mood trackers. You need to write it down. Am I in a good mood, in a bad mood, or whatever is the mood? Okay, track it in there. Then sleep. Sleep, it's easy. I've got an Oura ring. Okay, they do not sponsor my show, but I've got a lot of data from here that helps tremendously to understand what's happening with me. I publish that currently, so I've been doing it. I have the Oura ring for 5 years, so that's tremendous. And you track your sleep and your HRV in a daily basis. I think that's the best way. And then you create this on your own protocol, and then see what happens. I believe that after 4 to 6 sessions, that should give you like 3 to 4 weeks. Your anxiety levels, they do come down. I believe that. I've seen that happen. But getting data is different. Getting your data is different. So I don't see this as therapy, but you're essentially shifting the pattern and training your body to move from one side to the other. My belief, and this is just belief, I need to dive into the science, or I'll say if I can bring someone to help out doing this, is that when you shift context and stressors, and you give your brain some time to later go back to this thing over here. Of course, the brain is the same, okay? But you shift context and the type of stressors with the structure that we talked about. It's essentially like you are training your body and your mind, okay? Because they do come together to come under this type of load. And guess what? If you are able to get calm under this type of load, later on, when you go back to those crazy work meetings, what life brings, that are always throwing stuff at you from financial wellness feelings, guess what? I just believe that it gets better. In fact, even small things like this is how the breath works, okay, can be effective. So what I'm asking you from today is this: try to do one of this. Well, try a simple exercise, okay? This is very specific in that, but try to bring things that you learn from practice into your life, so that you I don't like the word, but I'll say it in a purposeful manner, okay? Because purposeful needs to be defined what it is, okay? So bring breath work into your life, like inhale the nose, hold, exhale the mouth, hold, inhale. That's a box breathing. That will be one of the techniques in here. Look, if this message resonates with you, it's pretty simple. DM stress-free, and we'll make an overall, mood check, and I'll give you we'll do the drill. Got it? DM stress to me, and I'll be back here at the studio. We'll do the drill so that like, oh, this is what it is. Okay, cool. Or even be more like direct, okay? DM start and join our 28 days challenge. We have this all structured in terms of progressions and methods and what to do, and we know the results already from the 20-day challenge, by default, people lose when you are when you are in the lose weight category. You usually lose 10 pounds for sure, and you learn the habits on how to lose weight and the trend. So I think I'm adding one more layer into this. That is okay. If you are stressed with anxiety, we have a protocol that can help you, but we do need to measure it. So um, uh, we are starting the new cohort very soon. In the beginning of the year, everyone wants to change things and make things really good. So the next cohort starts very soon. DM over there. Think that in Krav Maga, we are good people, man. We build up this sense of community. We are good people getting capable together. It's very, very important in here. So I want to see you at the studio, okay? Getting ready for this. Well, that was a lot, right? We went to all of these. Oh, I want you guys to. I want to give you the the study link. There we go, so that you can use. I'll put these in the show notes as well. Okay. So I got and the PubMed. I'll put these out there, and I'm checking out if I've got any specific questions. Okay, I'll put this right over here. So same thing, guys. The PubMed link is over there. Well, it was working indeed. So study link. It's in the Journal of Psychology of Sport, but you can also access it through PubMed. So again, all credits goes to the authors, okay? And you'll see this. I would say you'll see this really, really impacting your life. Like it's just tremendous the way that I know it from. I'm going to call it empirical evidence, okay? But there's a lot of good evidence, lots of good proof. And oh yeah, so you guys might need also a link to my calendar in self-defense for all, so that you can book some time with us. Yeah, here we go. And here's the final link that is to our calendar. And again, I guess a couple of people joined. And okay, I'm open for questions. If you have questions, obviously. If you do have questions, let's take them on. Okay, let's take them on. Let's see who's out there, right? Let's see who's out there. Okay, so now it's a good time to put questions. Oh, I do have one question. Okay. Okay, so what should someone do if he's not into shape yet and can go into this more intense? Because I've talked about in the rate of perceived extension, you need to go to a 7. That's it. It's a rate of extension. So if you're thinking about, I need to perceive 15 reps or 15 very strong strikes, and after that I'm like dead, you're working too hard. And you need to go until 7 to whatever is your capability. See what I mean? So if you're overweight, if you have an injury, I've got many people that have shoulders, elbows. Okay, cannot punch with the right hand to an elbow, right? Got it? Still have the same idea with our friend. Right? Throw an elbow. Okay, if your shoulder is really bad, don't throw an elbow. Okay, throw a head. Well, no, don't throw a head, but use the other hand. If your both hands are not working, then we need to talk about throwing knees. But if your knees are not working, oh man, probably need to find a new body. But what I mean by this is, besides finding a new body, we'll have a routine that will allow you to exercise at your own level. So rate of perceived extension, RPE, has to do with where you are. Okay. So thanks for that question. That was a really good question. Okay. Next question. What if I don't have an heavy bag? Okay, cool. So if you don't have a heavy bag, and what if I don't have a partner? Okay. You don't have an heavy bag, you don't have a partner, no problem. Make it very simple, do shadow boxing, okay? Shadow boxing is, or shadow grappling, or shadow ground. What this means is you do the activity, but to the air. Yes, Bruce Lee said that the air does not strike back, all of those things. But if you don't have a partner, don't do it with a partner. Do the movements. We've got a lot of videos out there that explain the movements or the techniques, as you want to call them. Do that, okay? And again, the same idea. Imagine, okay, sometimes, I was just in a class where we're doing Qigong, seated, do the same thing. Get seated, okay? You cannot do it with the legs, do it with the arms. Got it? Do it with the arms. I'm striking. Your head is getting out of the way. You're blocking. You are grappling. So that would be your RP. Okay. So don't have an heavy bag. Here's a good solution. Okay. Is this effective? Look, I think this is effective for health. If you're talking about effectiveness for self-defense, you always need a partner because timing. It's just timing. The understanding of something is being someone throw a punch or a grab. We need that action so that we put our reaction in there. Or in reverse, you need your ability to put your action on. Is a punch, a strike, whatever part of the body, and then we need to understand what is happening. I'm talking about striking, but I believe the same thing is applicable if you have to grab someone. Can you do it with a dummy? But it goes back to something. If you don't have resources, you work with what you have. So is this effective? You're going to start by being effective for your health. And then as you talk with people, right? Go out there and talk with people, man. Get someone to work with you. Get someone to come to the studio. That will help, okay? If you don't have someone to come to the studio, because, come in, we've got trainers in the community that can help. So that's what I would say in terms of building effectiveness is how it works. Oh, those were interesting questions. Okay. Okay, everyone, thank you very much for being here today. Thanks for watching. Please DM, direct message. DM to me your biggest takeaway. Enjoy your day, and I shall see you soon. And remember this, train every day.